Hey guys, this is Mr. Stumble. Let's run through this real quick. 4-4, parallel and perpendicular lines. Quick little game here. Need to find out if these numbers are the same. So we go down, 2 and 2 are the same, 1/3 and 1/3 are the same. 3/4 and 4/3 are not the same. They have the same numbers, but they're different. 3 and 1/3, this is 3 over 1, so they're flipped of each other just like these, so those aren't the same. 5/3 and 5/3 are the same. It is this easy to figure out parallel lines. Write this down. Parallel lines have the same slope. Okay? This is your symbol for parallel lines. We'll get to that in a little bit. Parallel lines have the same slope. And they never intersect at all. So like these two vertical lines here, if they're both vertical, they're going to be parallel. If you have two horizontal, they will also be parallel. If you have two lines that aren't vertical or horizontal, you can take the 2 points on this line and 2 points on this line, plug them each into the slope formula, which we'll get into a little bit later. So this is what they're going to do. There's a whole fancy way of doing this. I'm going to simplify things. Write an equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, for the line that passes through negative 3, 5, so my x and y, and is parallel to the graph of y equals negative 2, or y equals 2x, and that says minus 4. I had that crossed out because to be completely honest, this is unnecessary for us. We're looking at slope. We're always looking at slope. For them to be parallel, they got to have the same slope. So y equals 2x minus 4, my slope is 2. My parallel line will have the same slope. So what we're going to do, instead of all this fancy stuff in the book, we're going to take m, x, and y and plug them in, m, x, and y. So y equals m times x plus b. We're going to solve for b. So we solve for b here. Multiply two numbers together and add it to the other side. B equals 11. We have our m, we have our b. We can write our equation. Y equals 2x plus 11. There's a whole fancy way of doing it. Let's not worry about that. Let's make it easy. This one says write it in point-slope form, which is what I did here. But we'll get to that point-slope form. The line that passes through 4, negative 1, is parallel to y equals 1/4 x plus 7. I had my class do this in slope-intercept form anyway, because that's the way you're going to see it most. Anyway, point-slope form, take this slope here, put it in here, and then y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's point-slope form. But we're not going to worry about that. We need our slope here, so I'm not worried about this plus 7 at all. I have y equals 1/4 x, so 1/4 is my slope. M equals 1/4. Have m and then x and y, they give you over here. So y equals mx plus b. Multiply together, subtract the other side. We find b. We got b and m. We have y equals 1/4 x minus 2. Parallel lines are that simple. They're going to give you x and y. You can find m, plug it in, solve for b. So now we have, are they opposite reciprocals? Opposite reciprocals, if you remember, a reciprocal is a flipped fraction. The opposite means we're just going to change the sign. So these are reciprocals, but not opposite reciprocals, which is why we have next. 4 and negative 1/4, those will be. If you see up here where they're both positive, or if you see that they're both negative, they are not going to be opposite reciprocals. So 4 and negative 1/4 are negative 5/2 and positive 2/5. Those are good. 1/2 and negative 2, which is negative 2 over 1. Those are good. 7 and positive 1/7. Those are not. This is how we determine perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. You're going to want to write that down. This is the symbol. It's a little upside down T. Opposite reciprocals. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals for slopes, meaning they will cross when you graph them at a 90-degree angle, which you'll get into geometry, but they cross at a perfect square. Okay, if you have two lines that you're not real sure Take this point and this point, put it in the slope formula, which is the y equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Here and here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You'll get two numbers. You need to compare them and see if they are opposite reciprocals. They're going to do this. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through negative 4, 6 and is perpendicular to 2x plus 3y equals 12. This is our standard form. Our shortcut for standard form, if you remember, was m equals negative a over b. So m equals negative a over b. If I'm going perpendicular, this is not my slope. If I'm going parallel, it is, but we're going perpendicular. So we have to flip the fraction and go from negative to positive. We have our slope, we have our point. We're doing exactly what we just got done doing. Y equals mx plus b. Multiply together, add to the other side. We have b, we have m, y equals mx plus b. The last thing they're going to do is they're going to give you three lines, and they're going to say, are any of these parallel or perpendicular? And I'm sorry, you can't see this too well. You kind of erase some of this. These are all examples in your book, by the way. Determine whether they are parallel or perpendicular. On a graph, if you see any horizontal and vertical, you know they are always going to be perpendicular. Because with your vertical line, you have an undefined slope. It's really hard to flip the fraction when your fraction just says undefined. So just know that undefined and 0 are perpendicular. Sometimes they tell you this one, and this one, three lines, are any of them parallel or perpendicular? Well, you just need to find the slope of each one. So negative a over b gives us a slope of 3. This is y equals mx plus b. We can just say m is 3. And y equals 4 is a horizontal line, so m equals 0. Okay? These two are the same, meaning they are parallel. If we saw a negative 1/3, it would be perpendicular. Or if we saw an undefined slope, it would be perpendicular with this. But we don't. So we can tell that these top two will be parallel. That's pretty much it. Just remember, parallel lines have the same slope, and perpendicular have opposite reciprocals. There's the two symbols. It's kind of what they look like on the graph. Here's your assignment, page 241, 12 through 30, the even numbers.